Hi everyone, today I want to talk about Zend Framework 2 navigation bend and twist, how easy it is to customize the Zend Framework 2 component. As you can see, I have created a fancy presentation. Not gonna use it very much, but I did it for fun because I really have fun doing this. Also, I will concentrate as usual mostly on the code. So let's get started. As usual, I have 6 DOS prompts. In 2 of them I have Apache running, MySQL running, command prompt for this I guess it's a composer. Yes, it is a composer. MySQL database, command prompt from doctrine tool, and finally I have the git. Those are my DOS prompts and bash. Okay, here we go. Git status. I always forgot to do that. I have to create a branch and check out this branch. Git status. I'm on the master branch, as you can see. So git branch develop. In case I do something very stupid, I always can go back. Git branch develop. Git branch verbose, show me the branches. Okay, so git checkout develop. Okay, let me see. Now I'm on develop. Git status. Nothing to commit, of course. Okay, so now we are ready to start. Since the last time I was talking about the navigation and the secondary actually navigation, how to create more than one navigation, notice driven by the same ACL, today I will stick again with the same component because it's the freshest one in my mind. Okay, so by the way, the slideshow here doesn't work for some reason on Google. I have backgrounds here on the first slide, but when I click on the next one, it looks too dark. So probably the best will be just to stick in the editing mode. I hope it's well seen, so you won't have problems to read that. First one, philosophical topic. I trade convenience for freedom. This is my philosophy in the life. Actually, it's not a philosophy, it just happened this way. My development stack is on a flash drive, and I just move from one computer to another. I also don't want to be bound to a framework or a technology, so I move from one technology to another, from one language to another. Actually, this is very good because it gives you a wider perspective on the technologies. I'm a computer and technology nomad. Also in the life I'm a nomad. So this is about my philosophy and why I'm doing this, exactly this bending and twisting Zend Framework 2, and why I have chosen Zend Framework 2, and why I'm talking about that, because I was watching a seminar yesterday, and here it is, what comes up from this seminar. All PHP frameworks suck. This is said by Rasmus Lerdorf, the creator of PHP. It really makes me laugh. The guy is very nice. It's a very decent guy. I really enjoyed his presentation on the seminar. I guess it was in Ukraine, about the PHP frameworks. It really depends on the situation. Marco Pivetta made a comment in the mail list of Zend. As usual, I have a big cup of tea in front of me, so I'll drink a little bit, only a sip. I like to start from scratch. It's an ego game. Usually the people like to enjoy, to have fun, and developing programming, it's real fun. If somebody else can do it, I also can do it. So it's mostly an ego game. as I say here. How easy it is to bend and twist the framework. This is for me very important. Actually, how easy it is to customize it, because why Rasmus Lerdorf said that in his comments. He said because the general purpose frameworks actually doesn't work for every situation, and I totally agree. How many times I was dreaming actually to create a CRUD which is absolutely universal. I created only once, and after that I just changed the configuration parameters. All these attempts actually failed. First, the CRUD becomes very complicated, and each time the customers, the requirements set in front of you a different challenge. So it's easy actually not to create one general CRUD, and after that with configuration parameters try to twist and bend to make exactly what you need, instead of just starting from scratch. It's better actually to start from scratch. I agree with that, but at the same time I don't wanna write code which is already written. I don't wanna reinvent the hot water. So the most important for me is how free I am, how free I feel with a framework. I have chosen Zend because actually it's not a framework, it's a component library. We often forget about that. I don't know, usually the people forget about that. I never forget about that, I always remember. So you can use all the components at will, separately from Zend. They're loosely coupled, and they follow the principle of strong cohesion. You can pick 2-3 components which you like and use only them in your project. What glues together everything is a component called MVC. Zend is a component library, so that's why I feel free, because I can use only separate components if I like. I don't have to take everything as a block. As Rasmus said, you usually start with a general purpose framework, and after that you tear apart the framework. You take only the parts which you need, and framework Zend allows me to do that, actually, to take only the parts which I need, and after that create something. Okay, I had some technical troubles recording this tutorial, so now I will continue. Can we customize Zend navigation? Okay, let's pick only one component and try to customize, try to see how easy it is to bend it and twist it in the way we want it. Actually, we don't even have to bend and twist Zend navigation. Zend navigation is extremely flexible. We can customize the pages. The pages are actually the main components, and the navigation is only one container. So we can have our custom pages. For example, my module navigation page, my page. I'm gonna show that, of course. Let me show it actually. How to create that. Yeah, obviously it's gonna be easier for me just to go through the presentation and after that start with the code. I use this presentation as a guide just not to forget something. We can use custom properties as well in the pages. What do you mean by that? For example, our navigation configuration file is navigation global. So for example, I want to have something which is called anchor CSS, and I'm gonna tell you why. Anchor CSS, oops, of course anchor. I'm gonna call it anchor CSS because when the navigation gets rendered, here it is, if you remember from the last time. Let me show you that. Look now, anchor tag, element anchor. It doesn't have a class, and I would like actually to have a class there. That's very easy to be done. If I just put a class here, for example, item, let's say 22, I will have this class item 22 set exactly in this element anchor. Let's call it home. Why I'm using these names? Because I just remember them from some Bootstrap templates. Okay, so let's take a look now what's gonna happen. I was looking the second navigation, the secondary navigation, so let me set this properties of the page here. The last time in the previous tutorials I said that there are two types of pages, two different classes. One of the classes is called MVC, or page is called MVC, as an example is this one. Another page is URI page. They have different set of properties. They're common properties as well for both type of pages, but there are different properties also. Okay, so let me set these properties here and see how they're gonna look like when I render the navigation. So let's take a look. I was looking here in the inspector, the second navigation, as you can see here, shows me the element which I have selected down. Let's refresh now and see how it looks. Just remember that the only class we have in li element is the class active, because we are on the home, and this element, navigation element, actually menu element, points to the home. Let's refresh and you'll see that active will stay, but in anchor we'll have one class added, which is item 22, which I just created. Let's refresh and see. Okay, voila. Okay, item 22. What if I want this class to be in the element li? I don't want it in the anchor element. I want it in the list item element. I want this item 22 to be here, not in the anchor. Okay, so there is an option, actually one property. No, this is not a property. Yeah, it is a property which can be set in the view menu, view helper, which allows us to move the class to the list, to this element li. Okay, let me show you that. We have to go to the layout. In this case I'm just using the layout which comes with the skeleton application, so it's gonna be easier for me. Layout, boom, here we go. Let's take a look now. The last time in the previous tutorial where I was talking about the secondary navigation, I just showed to you how to render. Now I'm gonna show you how actually we can move the class from the anchor element to the li, list item element. It was something quite long, so that's why I'm gonna use a helper. Wait a second. Application, view, layout. I have fun doing that, just comparing these things, and doing this mostly for myself, and if somebody else can benefit from them, from these tutorials, that's fine. If not, it's also fine. So here we go. I have set the UL class. Now all you have to say is setAddClassToListItem. Here we go. And you'll see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna add the same to the helper above, just to be in sync. And there is another property which also can be set. It's only true and false, of course, this property in the view helper, which says escapeLabels. So if I have, for example, HTML in the label, it could be escaped, HTML escaped. Let me show you that. Span, for example, and that's enough just to show how it looks. Span. Okay. Let's take a look now. What did we say? escapeLabels? No. True. setAddClassToListItem? True. Let's see how that actually will affect the rendering of the menu, of the navigation, which turns to be a menu. Okay. We're waiting. Now, here we go. Span first page. Am I on the right navigation? I'm not quite sure, but probably I am. Here we go. Span, nothing happens, of course. So as you can see, it's not escaped, but notice this. Now, the item 22, the class, was moved to the li element, is not anymore here in the a element. Okay, that's quite interesting. But are there more options, actually properties which we can set, and how many actually Zend has created? Not that many actually. Those are the two which can help you to bend and twist. But there is one big but. You can use partial view helper. Actually, you can use partials to render the navigation and have the perfect control on the navigation menu, how it's rendered, how the HTML looks. So in this direction we have a perfect control with the partials. Okay, so far so good. Let's try again. Let's set it to false to see how it looks. True. By default, the setAddClassToListItem is false, which means that the class here in the navigation, this class is gonna be rendered in the anchor element, not in the list element. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you that and we will continue further. Already a lot of time has passed. Okay, so now let's refresh and see how everything looks now when we have changed. Oops, but we didn't save it. Okay, I have to refresh it again, as you can guess, fortunately. Okay, let me refresh again. And we'll see how it looks. It's obvious. You can see right now that has been HTML escaped. If you look at how it looks, where is that button? I found it once. Nav collapse, container, Wow. Okay. Div. Here we go. Active item 22 age reference. First page. You see how it looks. Okay, I don't want this behavior, so I'm gonna turn it to false. Escape labels. Usually by default they're true, which means that the labels get escaped. Okay, and let me turn this to true. I showed to you how these things work, how the properties of the view helper menu actually work. So let's move to the next thing. And of course I don't want to have here, not of course, but right now I don't want to have span here in the label, but you got the idea. So this is one level of control with these two properties which you can set in the view helper. Actually you control where the class is positioned in the li element or a element, and are you gonna escape the label. But what if I want to have a class for the li element, and at the same time I want to have another class which is set for the a element, attribute class which is set for the a. What we are gonna do that? Okay, I just invented one property. which is not a standard property. There are standard properties which come with Zend view helper. If you look at here, you can see them, and they're custom properties as well, custom page properties as well. So I just invented one custom page property. This custom page property actually, anchor CSS, it's totally acceptable. Zend is extremely flexible. Through the call of a magic method which is called underscore call, actually not the call but set underscore set, actually you can set properties which doesn't exist, and Zend view helper, this menu helper, can handle that. Not only the helper actually can handle these properties, these custom properties, and not actually the view helper handles them if you don't care about that, if you don't take special care about that, but the page and the container allow you to set such custom properties of the different pages, and you can get them when you convert the page to string. Also with a method get and mentioning the name of this custom property, you can get it. I'm gonna show it to you very shortly. Okay, so let's see what else do I have now in my presentation. We can use custom properties. I mentioned this to you already, and I told you that with the page object get my property, you get the value of this property which is set here. Anchor CSS is not a standard property. We just invented, and the page accepts it. Okay, so as you can see, actually the navigation, Zend navigation, is extremely flexible. Another thing before I forget is you can create a custom page. You have to extend only the abstract page, Zend abstract page, Zend navigation abstract page, and you can have as many properties as you want, exactly as exactly like model view controller page and the URI standard Zend pages. Okay, let me go to the next slide. We can customize the view as well by changing the values of the different properties of the view helper. I just show it to you how that's done. setAddClassToListItem escapeLabels by using custom partial script for the view helper. Okay, during the tutorial I'm gonna show you that just a little bit later when I start working on that. Okay, so we have a great amount of customizations for Zend navigation, and the view helper, the view helpers actually, which take care of rendering the navigation. The navigation is nothing else but a container which contains pages. There's a two type of pages. We can invent a custom page, and it's a tree structure. You can build sitemap with this navigation. You can build breadcrumbs and other interesting things. Okay, so is this enough for us? I think it's enough. I cannot think about the use case where such customization is not enough for me. So my conclusion is that Zend navigation and the view helpers, Zend navigation system I should call it, because there are view helpers which are in Zend view folder in the Zend view namespace, and there are classes which are in the namespace Zend navigation, but both they create the Zend navigation system, which allows you actually to create and after that render different menus, not only menus but breadcrumbs, as I said, such tree structures. Okay, if this customization is still not enough for you, can we bend it? Can we bend and twist Zend? Of course we can. This is what makes me very happy, the fact that I always can pick a component and customize it. Why do I need that? For example, I need an extra functionality which doesn't exist right now. I have one option. Just go and fork, for example, Zend Framework to work on a component, add the feature which I want, and after that send a pull request, or go to the issue tracker and put the feature which I want to have, and after that I have to wait. Maybe the developers will agree that we need this feature, and who knows when they will add this feature to the framework. I don't wanna wait so long. So what are my options? Actually, I can extend Zend component classes, and I can have the feature immediately. And if for the next release there is such feature, I'm not gonna use anymore my extension. Okay, so let's extend one of the core classes, abstract page. As I said, for the Zend navigation, I don't see a reason why I should extend and use it this way, but just for the sake of the example and this tutorial, I'm gonna extend Zend navigation. I'm gonna work with Zend navigation and the view helper, which menu view helper, which renders the navigation and turns the navigation into a menu. Okay, let's replace the original menu view menu helper, menu view helper, with a custom one. Okay, and here it is, the note. We don't have to extend blah blah, I already said that. So how this is done? Let's think together. Oops. First approach, I just have to create a folder somewhere where my classes will be, and after that, using the object-oriented principles and rules, I will extend the classes which come with Zend library. So what would be the suitable place to put my extensions? This is the first problem I have to solve. Let's look at the structure of the project. There is something which is very important for me. As I said, this is my freedom. So I want to be able to use the extensions which I just want to create in another projects, not only Zend Framework projects. So I will create my classes not in a module. This is my first impulse. After that I will show you that very good idea is to use it as a module. Actually, you just move it to the module. It's so easy to make a module from a library. But generally speaking, I just want to create a folder in the vendor, and I'm gonna put my classes there, because my way of thinking is this: maybe tomorrow I'm gonna use these classes, these extensions, together with only the components which are inherent in another project which is not necessary as Zend Framework 2 projects. So I have to be detached as much as possible from the framework. So let's first start by creating my classes in a vendor folder where all third-party classes and libraries stay. So this is gonna be my library. This is my library. And also I want, for example, in the same library to extend classes from Doctrine, classes maybe from Symfony, and other classes and other frameworks. So that's why I have to be absolutely independent of Zend Framework 2. That's why I'm gonna put it in the vendor where the third-party classes and libraries stay. My library is gonna look to me as a third party. So I'm gonna create CSN folder, and as I said, because I'm planning to extend not only Zend classes but other classes, for example from Doctrine, I'm gonna create Zend subfolder in my folder CSN. Zend subfolder is gonna hold only the classes which I'm gonna use to extend the Zend functionality. I may have another folder here which is called Doctrine, or another one which has nothing to do with Zend, as Doctrine almost doesn't have anything to do with Zend. Of course it has something to do with Zend because they work together, but you got the idea. Okay, so CSN Zend, hopefully you got the idea. CSN Zend. Now let's look at actually what do I need to extend. Right now, as I said, I just want to use a totally different structure from what Zend navigation offers me, but at the same time I don't want to reinvent everything. I just want to inherit from some of the classes and composite my objects in the way which allows me to get as fast as possible my project. Okay, so I'm starting from here, from the factory. How my navigation container gets created? Okay, it gets created by a factory. Let's look at this factory. I can also look at directly in the Zend Framework 2 and see what the factory does. Okay, so let's look at, oops, not here. Let's start by looking the Zend library or this class to see how the factory looks. Okay, vendor, Zend Framework, wow, library, Zend navigation. It tells me the path to it, Zend navigation services, service default, navigation factory. Let's open this. Let's get a glue. What's going on here? Okay, so not very much. Actually, it returns only one string value, default. Everything else is done by the abstract navigation factory. Okay, let's look at the abstract navigation factory and try to figure out what's going on here. We have a lot more code here, and the most important, implements factory interface. In this tutorial I'm just trying to give you a common approach for extending Zend classes. This could be applicable for any class in Zend component library. I just picked navigation because, as I said, it's fresh in my mind. But this is how I would do it. In the IDE, for example, like NetBeans or Zend Studio, this will be much easier because you just hold Control key and after that you click on the name of the factory interface and you can see it. Right now I know the factory interface, what the factory interface actually looks like, so that's why I'm just gonna give you directly the information. I know that there is only one method defined there. It's not defined, it's declared there, which is called create service. That's it. And actually this is what the service manager calls. The service manager calls the create service method because it expects, and when you give him a factory, it expects the object to have such method, create service. Okay, and what is done here? Page, this get page service locator. Okay, get pages service locator. It calls a method, creates the pages, and after that creates a new navigation pages. So as you can see here, navigation is hard-coded. So there is not gonna be easy way for me just to replace something. I have to extend actually the abstract navigation factory and use something different instead of navigation. Where the navigation comes from? Navigation comes from navigation. That's the container. I wanna change it, I wanna bend it, I wanna change something inside, and I wanna change something in the core actually of the component, which is the abstract page. Let's say I'm not very happy with how the abstract page looks, so I want to change the abstract page. I'm looking for glues which will help me actually to decide what to replace, which methods to override in order to change the abstract page and use and customize the Zend navigation to something like CSN Zend navigation. Okay, so this is something which I have to change. I have done it actually, and the easier way probably will be just to show you what I have done and explain it to you. Okay, just to save time. So this is how actually I'm doing it. I'm just looking the Zend classes, I observe them, and I decide which classes should be replaced, which classes should be inherit. Actually, I'm not replacing anything, but which classes should be extended and overwritten. Okay, so just a second. Application module. Here we go. In the module, in the vendor, I already have created CSN Zend. I just will copy this CSN folder to save time, and I'm gonna explain shortly how everything works and the reason behind all this. So I told you already that inside of CSN I have a folder Zend, because in this folder I'm gonna put my classes which extend the original Zend classes, Zend Framework classes, and here I have navigation. And voila, service, secondary navigation factory, this comes from where? From here. CSN navigation, secondary factory. Okay. Actually, I have created a secondary navigation factory, so I have to use it here. I have to replace this one, which comes from a different module. I'm gonna comment and use now only CsnZend navigation factory. This navigation factory is gonna use my custom pages. I can customize everything behind it. CsnZend navigation factory. From here I'm pulling the string. From here everything starts. Okay, now notice this CsnZend navigation service, and now I'm calling this service. Actually, I'm not calling it, but I configured this service to be created with a factory by the service manager, when actually I'm asking for the service by the name secondary navigation. What the service manager is gonna do is gonna call a factory. That's a class which is gonna be turned into an object, and this object is gonna create the service and return it. So that's why it's called a factory. It's a factory for producing services, in this case objects. Okay, and it's gonna be produced by looking in the configuration array and instantiating the necessary objects and putting them together, composing them. Okay, so secondary navigation factory is secondary. So far so good, but notice that here I'm not inheriting, I'm not extending the Zend abstraction navigation factory. I am extending my own abstraction navigation factory. So of course I have to define this class abstraction navigation factory, and it extends Zend navigation service abstract navigation factory. You have to do a little bit thinking here what to inherit in order to bend and twist the Zend component and the classes in the way you want. And also here, when I instantiate new navigation, as you can see here, I'm not instantiating anymore the original navigation from Zend. I have defined my own class navigation. Okay, let's find it. Let's find and see how it looks. Here we go, navigation. But as you can see, it's very easy to customize everything. As I said, you have to look at the original classes. You have to decide which methods to replace, to overwrite, and which methods just to leave to Zend. Name, use traversable navigation abstraction abstract container. As I said, navigation is nothing else but a container for the pages, for the objects. Construct here Zend navigation in exceptions. Okay, I have decided that I will override the constructor, or no, I have nothing to overwrite. Abstract container here. Let's open the abstract container and see how it looks. This is again a Zend creature, but I have changed in a way which suits my needs. Remove page, and the most important thing is that I'm calling my own abstract page. I'm not using anymore the Zend pages. Look at here. I'm in the namespace CsnZend navigation, so when I try to instantiate object page abstract page, is gonna start from Zend navigation, which CsnZend navigation, which means that it's gonna be used my abstract page. Okay, let's go to the page, this abstract page. Okay, In this abstract page, just for fun, I'm showing how to add actually another standard property. I just invented one anchor class. There are many other standard properties, but this one didn't exist, so I just added. After that, I'm overriding the public static function factory. Yep. As you can see here, I'm inheriting the Zend abstract page. So I have most of the methods already written for me. I don't have to write tons of code or copy and paste. I just try to override whatever it's necessary. And after that, I just have overwritten the factory, so it uses my pages, not the Zend ones. And that's it. I'm not gonna explain this any further. I hope that you got the idea. So that's it. Now let me look at in my presentation to see what else do I have to explain. The next thing is to replace the original menu view helper with a custom one. So first I have to create a custom view helper. So let's go to CSN and see how it looks. I again follow the structure. If you ask yourself why the structure is like that, because I'm just following Zend, view, helper, navigation, menu. This view helper renders the navigation container and creates the HTML. I have added here class get anchor class. See the property which I have created, the standard property. It's already standard. I made it standard. Let's pretend that we want this anchor class for some reason. I cannot think of a real logical reason, but let's pretend that we want this anchor class property to be standard. This one. Okay? So I want to use it in the view helper, and I'm doing it this way. And as I said, I just extend again the standard Zend class, Zend view helper navigation menu. So I don't have to write everything. I just touch the methods. I overwrite only the methods which are necessary to get my job done. Okay. By the way, here I have to mention the fact that overloading, in other words, creating methods with the same names in PHP is done through a call __call magical method, because we don't have types here, and we cannot override in the ordinary way as we would do it in C++, C#, or Java, in the strictly type or static languages. Okay, that's it. So the signature actually it's very hard to determine here. This is one of the disadvantages. Overloading, as I said, it's done a little bit strange in PHP. Okay, so here we just overwrite HTMLify, strange name for a method, but this is how it is. Okay, so I hope I didn't put you in sleep. Let's continue further. This is the way actually how I just extend the Zend standard classes and I use the methods. Okay. vendor CMS. Actually, I did this step by step. Follow the file structure of Zend Framework 2 to create a files. I just show it to you. Something very important which I almost missed. So the most important thing is just to create the file structure. If you remember only this, that's also will be fine. But now we need the Autoloader, because we don't use anymore in PHP all over the place the statements include and require once. So we use it only once in the entry point of the application to load the Autoloader, and that's it. Let me show you that in the public. Wow, index. How many files and folders do I have here? Here it is. Include init Autoloader PHP. We use it only one. We load the Autoloader, and after that, by the namespace in the name of the class PHP, this actually information can be used by the Autoloader to figure out where in the file system is the file with the class and load it. Now we have to prepare the Autoloader for our CSN library, newly created library. What you can do actually is just again use whatever we have in hands here and just customize it, hack a little bit, and it's gonna work. Okay, so we see here how the Zend actually gets loaded. The Autoloader for Zend gets configured. So let's use the same approach and load the CSN library. I will show you that if you create a module, you don't have to do that, because the module manager takes care, actually not the module manager, but the module PHP file takes care of the autoload configuration. Okay, but in this case I said that we're pretending that this is going to be a library. We want to be independent as much as possible from a concrete implementation, so that's why I'm going to create my own Autoloader. I'm going to register my own Autoloader. Okay, and because I have created already one, it's a little bit slow job. I'm gonna cover a lot of ground today, so that's why I have prepared myself index PHP. Okay, here it is. This is what I did actually. Vendor Autoload PHP. If vendor Autoload PHP exists, that means that we are gonna use the composer Autoloader. Loader CSN path false, and I just will set up the vendor folder. After that, this Autoloader will be registered, and that's it. Since PHP 5.2 we can use autoloading. Since PHP 5.3 we have namespaces. Okay, so that's it for now. I mean, that's it for the autoloading. This way we'll prepare our classes to be loaded. Okay, let me see if I didn't miss anything. Yeah, of course I missed something. I have to prepare the Autoloader. I have to load the Autoloader itself. In index I have to add one line, and since I have done it already, I just will use again my public index PHP and replace the one I have here. Okay, when I click here will warn me, and that's it. Okay, so include init CSN Autoloader, and my application will know where and how to find my classes, my CSN classes, without using any Zend tricks, without using anything. So we are independent as much as possible. Let's see how the application looks right now. I don't expect any changes, and hopefully there will not be mistakes and errors, not mistakes. And here we go, everything works. Let's see what else we have to do. Add include in its CSL Autoloader in the public index file. We have done that. And here we go. It comes the fun part. Use custom factory service to create a navigation container from our page classes. Actually, we have done it already and we haven't seen errors, which under the hood means that my entire CSN Zend navigation component, partial component, because I'm inheriting a lot of classes from Zend, so my component actually works perfectly. It looks transparently, it works transparently, and it does its job without any troubles. Let's see that. It's a little bit advanced topic. Here we go. Secondary navigation. And look at the factory. The factory is in CSN, my new library. CSN Zend Navigation Service Secondary Navigation Factory. In order for this class to be instantiated, of course, I have created init CSN Autoloader, which register one autoloader in the standard PHP autoloader, so the system knows how to load my class and instantiate object. Once the factory has been instantiated, it creates the navigation container and returns this navigation container. So on this key secondary navigation, we will have the navigation container. And as you can see, everything works perfect. Okay. The only difference is that anchor CSS is right now it's a standard property, not a custom property. It doesn't make too much difference. It doesn't make any difference in this case because this, as I said, this component is very flexible. Okay, so we have done that. Let's see what else do we need to do. Let's add custom properties to our navigation configuration array and property type anchor class. I already have done that. Type CSN Zend navigation page MVC. In CSN I have created my own custom page MVC. As you can see, it has the same name as the original Zend MVC page, but is in my namespace, and the only difference is that it has as a standard property anchor class. Not such a big deal, but there is a difference. As I said, the purpose of this tutorial is just to show you how actually to extend, bend and twist Zend. Eventually, if you miss some features, you can implement these features yourself. You don't have to wait for Zend to implement it. Okay, so let me add these things to my resource, to my configuration file, which is gonna be used to manufacture an object. This is another standard property which is called type. In fact, is extremely important because it allows you actually to create your own custom pages. Okay, let me copy this again. I'm gonna copy this configuration array from another one which I already have. Let me go there. I don't want to waste time. In any case, it's a slow process, navigation time, and there is a lot of ground to cover. As I said, it's not very easy topic. It's a complicated one. So, okay, what I have added here is, I don't want to make mistakes, so that's why I'm gonna add this elements here, this properties class. We already know about the class. I showed to you where it shows up. It shows up as a class attribute in the anchor element or in the list item element. I just added another standard element, home. I should have chosen something else as an example, but as I said, the freshest in my mind is the navigation, and also I am talking a bit about the navigation because we have to render this navigation somehow, get the menu, and in the previous tutorial I was talking about the navigation as well, so that's why I'm sticking with the navigation. Okay, so now let's do the same with the secondary navigation. I just will copy everything for any case. Hope didn't make any mistakes and everything works. So let me keep it open until I try. So this is what happens. I'm using a custom secondary navigation factory which is using under the hood my custom navigation page, navigation container, abstract page. Everything is absolutely custom. To build the navigation, which I wouldn't call anymore Zend, but it's close enough that it gets rendered properly by Zend View Helper. Let me try again and see if everything works. Yep, it does work. Okay, so let's continue further. Inject our custom view helper in the view plugin manager. Now, if you remember, we have created our custom view helper, menu view helper. Now, how we are gonna use it? Very easy. We just have to inject. We have to instantiate one object of our custom view helper, menu view helper, inject it in the plugin manager, and we are done. Let's do it. Let's do this in the layout, even though it could be done everywhere, probably on Bootstrap in the menu PHP file. So let me open right now my layout. As I said, I'm gonna do it in the layout because I think it's the clearest approach. Probably I have it already open somewhere. Yep, I do have it. Here we go, layout. So now we have a navigation, custom tailored, custom built navigation object, and we have a custom view helper. How we are going to replace now the standard view helper and use our view helper instead? Okay, what we can do is, here I'm echoing again the navigation, the standard navigation. That's actually, this is my custom navigation with the partial, just to show you how the partial works. And for me as well. Okay, so now This is one example how the partial view script can be used. The menu gets rendered using this partial view script. This way we have a full control. Before we continue, I'm going to show you that. Autoload. It's up to you to decide in which module to create this view script. Mine is CSN navigation partials. So let me go there and create it. In CSS navigation, I don't even have a view here, so I have to create a view folder following the standard Zend Framework 2 structure. Inside of the view helper, I have to create the name with the dash, the name of the module with the dash. Here we go. Just will copy to save time. So here we go. CSN navigation. After that, I name the folder partials, and here we go. I have the menu. As a comment, I have here, this method will assign the container to the view with the key container. Actually, I have copied this from the help, so the most important thing to understand is that you have one variable already set up for you. It's the container, which actually contains all the pages. That's it. You don't have to do anything. Just remember that you have a container. After that, you can call the properties. For example, I am calling here one custom property. Get a custom property and show this property. If you remember, we have one custom property here, which is called anchor class. Or let's set another one, which I'm gonna call custom property. Notice something. If there are two words, they have to be separated by underscore, nothing else. So this is one thing I can think of. For example, in my own navigation, which I just created, I can change this behavior. I can say, okay, I don't like this custom underscore property. I will allow, for example, camel case. I will allow dashes. So this is one thing you can change, for example, if you like. And I'm gonna say value. This is my custom property. So this is how you set the custom properties. And in the layout, actually in the partial script, or whatever you want to have, and you have access to the page, this is how you get the custom property. You just call the method get with the parameter the name of the property, echo this page, and let's see what happens right now. Okay, so this is a demonstration for using the partials to render the menu, the navigation. Okay, let's see how that looks now. Okay, I'm loading. Somewhere on the right hand side I would expect to have 2 pages. Oops, fatal error. I think I know what it is, but let me look at here. CSN navigation partials. Yeah, I know what it is, and I will tell you. In my CSN navigation, I don't have a configuration file, so I'm gonna add the configuration for the view scripts, and after that, of course, Zend will be able to find it. Here it is. I just copy and paste this configuration file here, and it's gonna work now. Let me refresh and prove this fact. Let's see. Hopefully there are no more errors. The reason was very simple. Here we go. I'm custom property. See, I set up property in the configuration array of the navigation. This is not a standard property. It doesn't have setters and getters, accessor methods. But magically, with the magic methods set and get, actually PHP is able to set and get this property. This is a custom property. This is how I set it, and this is how I have access to it. In the menu PHP, for example, PHTML, for example, partial view script, custom property. Here we go. We don't have to do anything to get it. We don't have to extend anything to get this functionality for us. Okay, so now let's continue with our custom made navigation and custom made view helper. This was a back off a little bit just to show you what we have already. Partials. Okay, now let's see how can we actually replace the standard menu view helper, which is gonna render our navigation, and use our menu instead, our menu view helper instead. So the first thing is get this navigation proxy view helper and get from it the plugin manager. It's like a service manager. In fact, the plugin manager is a successor of the service manager. So let me do that. Actually, I have everything here. Let's get the navigation proxy helper, as I have here in the comments. I'm gonna copy everything. Wow, this tutorial actually became very long one, but the topic is really not that complicated, but it's really big topic. Okay, so now if you like, you can go and look at the code. You can read the comments. I'm getting the plugin manager, which holds all the plugins. Those are the view helpers. After that, I am creating right now one object. I'm instantiating one object of my custom made tailored menu view helper. Here we go. Here it is. In the vendor, in the CSN, the Zend, and the view helper navigation menu. As I said, it doesn't have to be in the vendor. I just will show you shortly how I'm gonna create a module from this library and use it as a module. On top of that, both the library and the module are installable through Composer. Very easy. Okay. Okay, so CSN menu has been created, and here we go. Now, once we have the plugin manager, we simply replace the original. I'm gonna copy everything, including the comments. Probably some people will find it useful. Plugin manager, set service menu. Menu is a standard service which the plugin manager already has. It's reserved for the view helper, which renders the menu from a navigation container. And as you can see, I'm replacing the menu. The plugin manager allows me to do that, of course, with the special property. By setting a special property, this you can make it impossible, but by default it's possible to replace the service. So I'm replacing the service called menu with my custom service. This is a view helper, my own view helper, and after that I'm injecting into the CSN menu, I'm injecting the standard container. This helper navigation plays the role of the proxy, so it holds actually the standard container, navigation container, and by saying inject renderer, I think this injects the container into the CSN menu. Sorry about that, I didn't look at the name of the method. I'm not injecting the container here, the container will be injected anyway. I'm injecting the standard view renderer, which needs to be injected in the CSN menu in our view helper. It has to have access to the renderer. Okay, so, and after that I'm rendering now. Again, just for the sake of the exercise, I'm showing here the settings which the view helper can use. I'm rendering my custom menu, my custom navigation built with my own classes with a custom menu view helper. Okay, so it became very complicated, but what can I do? It is complicated. The main reason why the creator of PHP, Rasmus, doesn't like the frameworks and he thinks that they suck is because they just overcomplicate the things trying to cover all the use cases. Okay, so now this is the new menu which I just get rendered. This is the new menu. So let's take a look and see what can we say about it. Early class, home, first page, active item 21. Okay, so let me take a look here. The navigation global. This is my custom property. Look what we have rendered actually. Anchor class MMA home. Here we go. MMA home. Item 21. Let's look at here. Item 21. Why it's rendered in the li element? Let's look at the layout. Because we say so. We say setAddClassToListItem true. If we didn't use a custom view helper, both classes will be rendered in the li element. Anchor class in this case is used in the view helper to render only in the anchor element. Yeah. Okay. So let me look at the presentation and see what else do we have to do actually. Okay, so this has been done in the layout. Let's turn our library in a module. Okay, so we just finished with creating a library. It looks like a library, by the way. It could be called, for example, CsnCommon, CsnBase or CsnLibrary, for example. Let me put this like that. CnsCommon, as they call it, ZFC common, or CsnBase, base of course, or CsnLibrary. What goes in this library? When we create methods, when we create different classes in different modules, we may repeat ourselves. We may need the same functionality, the same classes in many different modules. Instead of doing this, instead of repeating ourselves, all these classes which get repeated in different modules could go to one common library, base or library. Okay, so now we'll see how easy it is to convert whatever we have created in this folder into a module. Then we don't even have to set up Autoloader. Okay, I'm in vendor right now. Config. All you have to do is just copy the content and put it in the module folder. Here we go. I have done it already, so I'm gonna copy everything and just explain to you. Now this is a module. It's in the modules. I just have chosen to call it simply CSN instead of CnsCommon or CsnBase or something. And on top of that, I have prepared this module to be installed by a composer, and I have changed a little bit the structure so this module could be loaded even without composer. So with or without composer is gonna work. In the module file, as you know, in Zend Framework 2, we have to have a definition of the class module. In this case, we don't. We just require once the real module, which resides in a source folder. This is PSR0 requirement for composer. Pretty standard, really. 0. Oops, I didn't type it correctly. So let me type it. Pretty standard, really. 0. Following this standard. Composer follows this standard. And look at now. Here I just followed the structure which I have in Zend without anything, any changes. I just copy everything and it's gonna work. All you have to remember is just to use the same name as for your library. Okay, so projects FMI here, vendor. If you go to CSN, you'll see that it has exact same structure: navigation, validate, view, and so on and so forth. MVC, controller, abstract. Yeah, I have done something more here, but the reason why they're different is just because MVC navigation, view helper, navigation menu stojan. The reason why I have more things is just I have created more folders and more classes, but all you have to do is just to move everything from CSN folder, from the vendor folder here in the module, and that's it. Voila. CSN again, just for any case I'm gonna copy it again. Yes to all. I have done it already, as I said. So okay, so now what is necessary to be done for a module to work? We have to tell the application about the module. Let's open here and let's tell the application that there is a CSN module. In this case, we will have all the classes defined twice, but this is not a problem in PHP since it loads the first one which finds. So let me try and see if that works. After that, I just will stop the library in vendor to prove the fact that the module right now it's taking place. The module is in charge right now. Okay, how can we stop it? Go to public, index, and comment the include statement here. So the library is not included anymore from the vendor, but the module takes its place. Here we go. You'll see that it works. After that, I will comment the module as well in the application to prove the fact that right now nothing's gonna work. CSN. We should get an error now. FMI. Okay, let's refresh and make sure that cannot be found. So one way or another, you use the classes which you have created as a library, put it in the vendor or as a module. It doesn't really matter. Maybe using as a module is much more convenient. But as I said, if you're planning to use your code in projects different than Zend, it's good to keep it as a library and not depend on Zend. Okay, in both cases this module which we have created is gonna work. I just wanna point something else as well. Now in this vendor folder CSN, by purpose I have one admin. I just wanted to show you that you can call the modules like that. For example, the module manager will figure out the fact that admin actually it's a module which is put under the name CSN admin. You can load it this way. It's not gonna complain. That's a little bit off topic, just to show you that module manager works as well like that. Only the namespace is CSN admin from two parts, two words. Okay, let me reload again. We have covered a lot of ground today. Okay, so the application works, and for first time in this tutorial, so I'm using actually the presentations. Move the code to the module folder, change the structure so it can be used without composer, and the code as usual can be found at github.com wingman007 FMI. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you. It became a very long one. I just tried to cover too many things. I hope you enjoyed, and if you didn't understand something, please go to the repository, take the code, take a look at the code, and hopefully it's gonna be helpful for you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Take care and see you soon.